I recently got a message on Instagram that really warmed my heart. A dad messaged me saying his 8-year-old daughter wanted to learn about board game design and if I had any advice. I love hearing about kids who want to learn about making board games. I think that's so cool. So I thought about this a lot and I really tried to think what would be the most helpful and impactful advice I could give an 8-year-old. And I landed on this. You will learn about game design and become a better game designer by actually making games, rather than just thinking about or talking about game ideas you have. Get some paper and pens and scissors and make a game you have been thinking of and get others to play it. See what they like and what they don't like. Then decide if you want to make changes to the game and play it again or try out a new idea. But the quicker you actually make the game and play it, the sooner you'll see if there's potential there or not. And have fun. I pressed send and then I thought, I wonder how other designers would have responded to this question. I felt like this kid would greatly benefit from hearing advice from other designers as well. So I posted the question in the Board Game Besties Facebook group, which is a group I started back in 2015 for women, gender nonconforming, non-binary, and trans folks in the tabletop game industry. I said, hey besties, I got this message on Instagram from a parent whose 8-year-old daughter wants to be a board game designer. What advice would you give her? I can compile it and send it to her dad to share with her. Quickly, the responses started to come in. And I realized there was so much good info here that I wanted to share the answers with you as well as with the dad who reached out to me. So the first to respond was Danielle Reynolds, project director at Wacky Wizard Games and host of the Game Design Unboxed podcast. Danielle wrote, tell her to just create and test whatever idea she has. Like the Nike commercial, just do it. This was a much more concise version of what I said as well. But it really is true. At the end of the day, we just need to do it. Just make the game. Then game developer and graphic designer Estefania Rodriguez posted, to not be afraid of making changes over and over again until it feels like it works. This is so true. When we make games, we can become very attached to them. And the idea of changing things, especially if we've spent a lot of time making the prototype, can be tough. So not being afraid of crossing things out, of taking things apart and moving things around is so important. Making board games is a lot like cooking without a recipe. You have to add a bit and then taste it and think, what does it need now? So maybe you add a bit more of something else, mix it all up and taste it again. And you keep trying things and changing things until it tastes just right. Next came a comment from a member who would prefer to remain anonymous and is directed more towards the parents of kids who want to make games. I think in general, cultivating an attitude of experimenting and trying over and over and not being too attached to one precious idea or concept is a valuable thing to instill when kids are young. Getting used to listening to feedback is another thing. Taking it in or not, but considering it. If that's something he can develop in his kid, she'll be able to handle critiques as she gets older. But mainly keep things light, fun, and accessible. It is so true that one of the best and transferable skills board game designers develop is being able to handle critiques. This skill can be translated to so many other aspects of life that will benefit your kid as they grow into an adult. Designers are constantly receiving critiques on their work and not being defensive and just taking it all in and then deciding what to do with that information is such a valuable skill. The advice for the parents out there continued with the next comment from Jennifer Abele, or Abel, I'm not sure. I wish my parents had taken some of my ambitions seriously as a kid, so I would give this parent practical advice. Find a local playtest group, start going to conventions, play as many games as possible to learn what sort of mechanics or themes they like and want to use in design. Going to a local playtest group would definitely be the next step for your kid, where people outside their friends and family can give feedback on their game. And yes, playing board games together will not only help your kid learn about all the different kinds of games out there, but you'll create so many fun memories together. Next, game designer and maker Rita Orlov posted, just make stuff and figure out what is fun. Then make more of that and figure out how to make it better. But most importantly, never stop making. Rita's website showcases the variety of cool stuff she makes. She makes furniture, puzzles, masks, and of course, games. I think what Rita said is so important. Your kid could go in so many different directions, but it's in experimentation that they can figure out what they enjoy and want to do more of. And I think us adults need to remember this as well. It's not just kids who get to try out a bunch of different hobbies and pursuits. Sometimes us adults can get so comfortable in the one path we've chosen that we can forget that we can go off trail at any point. The joy of experimentation and exploration is so important to instill in kids and adults. Next came a response from Peggy Brown, one of the most prolific and award-winning toy and game designers ever, and someone I really look up to. Peggy said, tell her to get involved in the Young Inventor Challenge. Use all the guides on the website and be ready for November, where she can meet all kinds of game designers and industry pros. I'll include a link to the Young Inventor Challenge in the description below. So this challenge is run by People of Play, or POP, formerly known as the Chicago Toy and Game Group, or CHI-TAG. POP is run by Mary Couzin, who we'll hear from later in the video. Here's a description of the Young Inventor Challenge from the POP website. The annual Young Inventor Challenge provides an opportunity for children ages 6 to 18 to develop and pitch their original inventions to major toy and game companies, industry professionals, members of the media, and general public. This unique and educational experience ignites imagination, creativity, and presentation skills like no other, providing a means of taking these inventions to greater heights with professional critiques from people of play industry experts. Many of the winning inventions have been licensed by these global companies and can be found on store shelves today. What a cool opportunity for kids. And it looks like this is an online competition with in-person presentation and awards being optional, which should make it a lot easier for kids to participate. Virtual submissions are due this year on October 27th, 2024, and registration will open later this summer. Check out their website to be alerted once registration opens. I'll include a link below. Then another comment came in from Melissa Rogerson, who wrote, "Play as many different games as you can and think about what you like or dislike about them, but mostly play." I think that is so important and really important for us grown-up designers to remember as well, the importance of play. So playtesting is the word we use for when we have others play our prototypes and give us feedback. And sometimes us designers can focus only on the testing part and forget about the play part. Designing games and playing games should be fun and all about experimenting and playing. I think this is a great thing to remember just in life in general. Then Elizabeth Hargrave, designer of the award-winning game Wingspan, swooped in with this comment. "Know that nobody's first draft is good. And on your first game, your second, third, fourth, etc. draft probably won't be good either. So don't get discouraged. Good games come from lots of playtesting and lots of changes. You have to just think of that process as its own game. The puzzle of how this game should work. Practice playing published games and talking about what you like and don't like about them. Develop a sense of your personal taste so that you can also articulate what's working and not working in your prototypes. And play Sleeping Queens for inspiration. It was designed by a girl about her age." Not getting discouraged is a huge part of being a board game designer. A lot of your ideas won't work out how you think they will in your head. And if that makes you want to quit, then designing games will be pretty tough since we deal with that kind of disappointment a lot. But if we push through that and make changes that improve the game or think of new game ideas that are better, it can be truly magical when things do work out. Next, Carly Kocurek, and I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing any of your names, shared a book recommendation that is definitely added to my list. I really like the book Challenges for Game Designers. It's made for video game designers, but it's also entirely analog challenges. I teach a class around it to college students, but I've recommended it to kids before and they loved it too. They might need some help with the reading, but can definitely do the activities. I hadn't heard of this book before. It was written by video game designer and developer Brenda Romero, and I have added this book to my Amazon storefront along with other books I recommend game designers read. I included links to both my Amazon.ca and Amazon.com storefronts in the description of the video. Then Tuesday, Badell posted, "When she's ready to playtest, Unpub would be delighted to have her join us at an event or Unpub online. We've had about a dozen kid designers over the years and it's always such a joy." Unpub is a really great group that hosts both in-person and online playtesting events. Designers bring their prototypes and play each other's games over the course of a weekend. If you're not able to attend their in-person events, they run an event called Unpub, which is entirely online. They also run a mentorship program, which could be really helpful for a kid starting out. They unfortunately just closed their applications for this round, but be sure to check back for their next run of their mentorship program. I'll link to the Unpub website below. Then designer and publisher AnnaMaria Phelps of Violet Daisy Games commented, "Focus on fun. If you're having fun making a thing, it comes through." This is so true. I feel like I really noticed this with extra details that show the designers really had fun making a game. Like the entire book of lore about dragons included in Wingspan, designed by Connie Vogelman. This book is not needed to play the game at all. It's purely there for fun, and I love that. Then Mary Couzin, the founder and president of People of Play, formerly known as CHI-TAG, posted, "Here's advice on a video from a couple of 13-year-olds that got their game into Target. They've been inventors their whole lives, but recently moved into games. Their video is priceless." I can't tell you how much joy that video brought me. I'll link to it in the description as well. But these 13-year-olds were saying a lot of the same things that the professionals and veterans of the industry have also been saying. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and keep trying. And then we'll end with a comment from designer Janice Turner, who wrote, "Don't be afraid to fail. That's the whole point of testing. Finding out what doesn't work, failing, and making it better until it works. You succeed." And that really is what it's all about. Learning how to fail and being comfortable with things not always working out, because that's where you can learn and grow and make things better. Well, I hope this was helpful for any kids out there thinking about designing games. But all of this information is relevant to experienced grown-up designers as well. I hope this wasn't too overwhelming for you, and feel free to come back to this video often throughout your game design journey. But also know that you absolutely can decide that you don't want to design games anymore and you want to try something else. You can always come back to game design later if you want, but even if you don't, the skills you will have learned from making games will translate to so many other cool things you'll do in your life. I hope this video was helpful for you, and best of luck.